The Channel Tunnels operator Eurotunnel demanding €29 million in compensation from the French and British governments. It's to cover revenue losses caused by the migrant crisis at the French port town of Calais. The migrant crisis in Calais has seen delays and disruptions to a number of Eurotunnel services, of course, after refugees attempt to storm the tunnel and climb onto the trains. In January this year, officials resorted to, to actually flooding some of the areas around the entrance of the tunnel, this to prevent the migrants from reaching the trains. Now, Eurotunnel's money claims have sparked an argument on Twitter with people concerned about just who's to pay for the damage. Some blame the tunnel itself for letting thousands of migrants get into the UK, while others believe French authorities are responsible for letting the situation develop on the border. We spoke to Ben Harris-Kinney, who's the chairman of the Beau conservative think tank. He thinks it's beyond Eurotunnel's responsibilities to have to police its own borders.
I do think that Eurotunnel have a legitimate case. Ultimately, the responsibility for border control lies between France and the United Kingdom, and there is very significant evidence to suggest that both countries have abdicated their responsibility when it comes to properly controlling borders. The extent of Eurotunnel's losses, I think, is up for debate, but certainly it is not their responsibility to police borders, and it's very clear that there have been many failures in border policing over the last 6 months, but actually going back a lot further as well. Eurotunnel is trying to run a business. I don't think that there is any evidence to suggest that Eurotunnel has acted shamelessly in the way that it's dealt with any of the migrant issues.
After spending billions of dollars on a missile defense shield, the Pentagon claims it's safeguarded America from potential worldwide ballistic missile strikes.
With the investments made in the ground-based mid-course defense system over the past decade, the United States has a defense in place against limited long-range attacks.
But those claims are actually false, according to a brand new report by top U.S. officials who were asked to check how the military has been spending taxpayers' money. Details now with RT's Alexei Rashevsky.
Now, this report comes from a very serious governmental body called the Government Accountability Office. This is something that think tanks and many pundits have been talking about for a number of years, but now an official federal body talks about this. Now, this report is related to the missile defense system in the United States, which has been built for more than a decade already, and the agency which runs it, the MDA, has taken a lot of blame from the Government Accountability Office for not providing what the money had been paid for. Now, in one particular quote, the report said that MDA has not demonstrated through flight testing that it can defend the United States homeland against the current missile defense threat. Now, talking about the defense threat, of course, this always been meant by a potential missile strike coming from Iran or North Korea. Now, one of the other issues here is that in excess of $30 billion, and that's not an official sum, that's something that has been speculated for quite some time. Between $30 and $40 billion have been spent on building the missile defense shield, and the report provides something of a damning verdict that it's already been billions and billions spent, and there may be billions more to spend on fixing the current flaws. This is the first time an official body, an official governmental watchdog comes with such report, and we're waiting to see whether there'll be any reaction coming from the MDA or the Pentagon.
Up next, Boom Bust discusses a possible Brexit.